I'd like to call a Borough of West Easton meeting to order. Stand for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dave, roll call, please.
Mr. James.
Here.
Mr. D.
Here.
Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Nine. Here. Mr. McMahon. Here. Ms. Lake.
here.
And Mr. Wright here.
Here. We have a quorum. Approval of checks 16419 through 16464 from the general fund. I have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. And approval of check 2051 from the sewer fund account. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Approval of minutes from March 12th, 2018, council meeting. I'll make a motion.
I second.
Any discussion on our minutes from March 12th?
Yeah, we should have a little discussion. We just forgot what it was. So this is where we're setting aside the funds for the trestle.
Page?
Wait, I'm before it. Maybe someone can help me out.
Page 3, about 2/3 of the way down, right above ordinance none, was where the resolution is in regards to the money being moved to the capital reserve fund.
No, that wasn't it. It was for the assessment of the trestles, money set aside.
Is it under old business, page 5?
Yes, it's
Yeah. Old business.
Right. So, on motion by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Dees, council approved spending, we didn't approve setting aside.
that we're not setting aside.
You are?
The $25,000 for the trestle, we are spending. The $60,000, we're not setting money aside for this.
We had to give the okay that we're setting this money aside for the trestle. We're not spending it yet, it might not happen.
We committed.
Yeah, we
You
committed.
committed 18,000, you made the motion for the full 25, even though it might not be spent.
Correct.
So-
So we're not, we didn't okay the spending of it
We okayed the 18.3 back then. The 18.3 was okay.
So what's changing here?
No, we committed to spend 25. We committed
Up to 20.
up to 25 for this. So would it be better said if it was committed up to 25 for safety?
Might not happen. So
I see, we're not spending it, we just committed it. Okay?
Well, by committing, let me explain this, by committing to this, we're telling Wilson Borough and the grant people that the assessment, this is how much we're gonna spend on this,
if it
18,300.
happens, sure. Sure.
Okay. Just
Once
so
it
it's
comes down,
clear.
okay, here it is, set aside, go ahead and spend it.
Okay.
What do you want to change?
Yeah.
Spending to committed.
Council committed up to $25,000 for safety inspection on Trestles crossing Spring Street and Iron Street. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Engineers report?
Thank you very much. Just one item tonight. I distributed plans that are around your table for the
That's all already.
construction of the sidewalk at the Gross Park up the street here, along Fifth Street and Spring Street. There's one change the configuration of the plan. That is along, Spring Street, there's a utility pole, right by, on the other side of the trestle. The utility pole, I don't think we're gonna be able to get moved in time for this project. So I'm going to change the sidewalk to squeeze it between the pole and the stone wall that's out there. I'll continue to work with, it's a med-ed pole, but I don't know if it's the cable company that's on there or not. Try to see if I can't get them to kick the pole closer to the curb. If we can, then I'll keep the configuration that you have here on your plan, but don't count on it because we're going to be moving this project along rather quickly after tonight. We're gonna advertise it later this week. And if everything is expedited, there's no changes and things go very, very smoothly, and if the council is so inclined, we might be able to award it at the second meeting in April. But right now, it's scheduled for the first meeting in May, but that would be the only change. So,
We had talked about that stone wall, that's included in this?
stone wall's not included in this. It became a bigger problem than I could handle with the budget you have. $40,000 is in the budget. Half is for ADA improvements, the other half is for the sidewalk improvements. The stone wall would kick that price way up, more than double it, and it won't be covered by the grant. So I can't do anything. If I touch the wall, there's no guarantee because it's a very old wall.
You might end up having to do a
The
lot.
whole wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I can't do anything with the wall. I took it out, and it's just, I'm trying to stay as far away from it as I can. So, again, this is what they call the ADA designs, the Americans with Disability Act, so the whole sidewalk, wherever we can, is being designed to be compliant with ADA standards, and that's why you have the specific ramps that are in there, so. Okay, again, it's about a $40,000 project, it's completely covered by your grants. We'll see how the bids come in. Hopefully it's right around there, because I know they want us to spend all the money like they usually do, and there's only certain things we can spend money on, so. Does anybody have any questions? Do you want to change anything?
Well, I think with regard to these sidewalks, I think Mayor Paul asked about a cutout up by the pavilion. Or is that not?
That's not part of this. The discussions that at least I thought I heard was that if there's money left over, so if the bids come in at $35,000 and $5,000 left over, we put it towards that. I put a special detail in the last sheet, not so much a detail, but additional concrete walkway. So I threw the specs on there so that if we do go the extra route, we don't have to tell them anything special. We'll try to get special prices or his price for doing the contractor's price for doing the extra work, so that there's no negotiating at the end. It's simply, this is the price you gave us, this is what you're going to do accordingly. And then at that time, we can figure if it's going to be just, a little bit extra or something like that, if Borough Council wants to spend the money for that extra ramp going into the shed, then we can.
Since they're here.
Yeah, since they're there, they can do it, so. Okay. Anybody want to change anything? You're okay with it, right? Okay. So, this is, you can always change it with an addendum, but I'm gonna make the final changes to this plan tomorrow, and then we're gonna advertise it in the newspaper. We'll advertise it, and we're gonna advertise it in pen bids to get the maximum exposure, the maximum number of bids coming in. I figure it's a very quick project. It's not gonna be something that's
The bid package, are you gonna be, for the borough to disperse?
what did we do last time?
I think we do it both.
We do both. I'm gonna put it on pen bid, so everything's there for them,
I
but.
have to make sure I get to the one to the Lancasters,
Okay.
and that's what I'm saying.
Yes, we'll bring them,
You can scan to me here.
we'll send them down here, we'll advertise it, and they can pick it up at the Borough Hall.
Check it online too.
And check,
Put
or,
it online.
yeah,
Great.
put it online. Whatever gets us the maximum exposure to do what we want to do. We want to get as many bids in as we can, so. Okay. Hearing and seeing none. I'll take that as everybody's okay, and I'll go off tomorrow and finish up the plans and we'll start the bidding package. Okay.
Do you want a motion?
Do we need a motion to advertise,
And accept the plans?
accept the plans and advertise, or?
What we do is we could, somebody could make a motion to accept the plans and allow the engineer to move forward with the process, because they're gonna do the advertising. We're gonna have
All right. Motion to accept the plans.
And have the engineer move forward on it.
Again, all right.
I'll second.
All right. Is there any further discussions? Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Brown?
All right.
Seeing none?
All in favor?
Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to change the plans and put a new date on them. These plans are now going to be void, so just throw them away, don't give them to anybody. Just get rid of them until I get you new sets, okay? Thank you very much. That's my report.
Thank you. Everybody, thanks for coming. I'd like to open up for public comment. Go to the podium.
Tricia Mezzicappa, 817 Ridge Street. Two things. First, I wanted to give my own update on litigation. As some of you new people may or may not know, West Easton never complied with final court orders that were entered in my favor. We are now 2 years into the discovery process in a contempt of court that I filed. Discovery is usually 3 to 6 months, but now it's been 2 years. I'm moving forward for a pretrial conference that I scheduled. It's scheduled for June, which means I'll eventually be calling witnesses and presenting my case, and I'm asking for full sanctions, which is $500 a day, which has now been going on for years, and the total amount is over $1 million in fines. So that's where we are. And my other comment was to ask about the drug center that I understand was disapproved by a vote of 7-0. Does anybody want to answer my question about why it was voted down? Not that I'm happy about the drug center, I'm not.
There's a decision that's written that was sent out to the applicant, it's going to be sent to the public also. Presumably it'll eventually be on our website too, correct? And it'll explain all the reasons then.
Oh, so it hasn't been sent to them?
It has been sent to them, I don't think it's made it out to the website yet.
Not yet.
Correct.
What, so we have to wait to hear what the reasons were?
Well, the reasons were outlined when Borough Council made their decision at the public hearing, or at the last meeting. And then there's a written opinion, and that written opinion is going to be on the website among other places.
So who wrote the opinion?
It's signed by the Borough Council President and the Secretary.
Okay. Well, if it's only about security, you know, as much as I don't want that center there either, I don't think that's a winning fight if Mr. Attia appeals you guys. If it's about security, because I've worked in those centers before, we have no say at all once they decide to leave, none. We cannot stop them, we cannot restrain them. We're really not even supposed to go outside after them. I've worked in a couple, and security personnel really aren't allowed in the treatment areas anyway, because it's technically could be a HIPAA privacy problem. So if all of the denials are just based on the security issues, I wouldn't recommend fighting that, because I don't really think you're going to win that. That's just my opinion.
Thank you. Any other public to be heard? If not, mayor's report?
First of all, conference phone works very well. I looked over the sidewalk plans and did the right decision. And I believe Matt was right when he said we're not actually committed to 25,000 because half of the bridge fund actually is Wilson Borough's responsibility, and we're responsible for like 18.7 to match the 50,000, and Wilson would be 6.3 roughly. So, you know, that's here nor there on the wording, but I believe that we're responsible for to match that grant with 18.7. The only other thing I have is I know there's been some talk about the Ridge Street garage, and I think Henry can bring that up, whether it's feasible to go for a price on a building that might be higher next year and possibly not getting a second grant. That will have to be decided by council. That's all I have.
Thank you. Solicitor?
I think that was the executive session.
Office report?
I just have a Easter egg update. We have 29 kids from West Easton signed up, 32 from the club. And with Jeff, Paul, Matt, and Pete, you're all still able to help, correct?
11:30.
11:30 starts. Yeah, if you get there
What
11.
time do you want us
Make your post 11.
here?
No,
or
up at the
park?
up at the field if it's not really raining,
Okay.
etc. We've been asking about Vinny and the laundromat repeatedly. Joe just got back to me. He was able to talk to Keith at Brookside Construction about the lint collector and the other items. After talking with him, I was able to get out that by the end of next week, April 6th, it will be done, even if Keith has to do it and charge it back to Vinny. At that time, I will go post the property if it's not completed. Since this keeps getting pushed off, I asked him if we could put like a stop work order or stop whatever it would be called in this case. So that's what he's referring to there, because this has been going on forever. So that's the report on the laundromat. That's all I have.
Thank you. Council President report as far as mine, I just want to remind you guys again, this NIMS online for our emergency management coordinator and our emergency management team. All of us are required to do this, so at some point when you get this done, please feedback to me when it's done and let me know when you've completed it, so that if we do have something happen, we can qualify for FEMA funds or we can qualify. It's part of our emergency management response. All right, policies, seeing none, I'll skip to a list of resolutions. There's 2 resolutions we have to vote on this evening. The first one is the Trestle. Which is in our packet. And this is just to, idiot. I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is official resolution, Northampton County Livable Landscapes Program Environmental Services Assistant Grant. Whereas the Council of West Easton Borough recognizes the Borough of West Easton contains natural areas that contribute to the quality of life and economic health of our community, which are worthy for preservation and restoration. Whereas the Northampton County Council adopted ordinance number 603, 2015, titled an ordinance establishing livable landscapes and open space program for Northampton County, and further providing for the administration of the 21st Century Open Space Initiative on January 7, 2016. Whereas the program provides for funding grants that may be used by municipality to plan for and lay the groundwork for projects that will address the future developments, management, and reuse of degraded and underutilized lands that are important examples of the Northampton County's natural heritage. Whereas the Borough of West Easton wishes to participate in the Environmental Services Assistance Grant in partnership with the Borough of Wilson, and whereas the Borough of West Easton will have the required match available of $18,375, and whereas the Borough of Wilson will pass a similar resolution attesting to their required match available of $6,125. Now therefore be resolved by the governing body of the Borough of West Easton that the West Easton Borough Council hereby approves the filing of an application for $24,500 in funds under the Environmental Services Assistance Grant. That Paul James is hereby authorized and directed to execute and file appropriate forms with the Northampton County Open Space Coordinator. So I need a motion to approve the resolution. All right. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion on this this resolution regarding our intent? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? That's it. Second one is approval of our Wilson Area Recreation Use of Field. Need a motion to approve using the field for Wilson Area Recreation.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the use of our field?
We're still gonna have the same insurance policy in place and all that.
I was gonna say, I would like to add to the resolution
Please.
on issuance of insurance, because I've asked for them, and they said they get it right to me, and they haven't.
I also asked for them at the rec board meeting, and they said they would take care of it. So part of our resolution is based on, our contingency is based on a receipt of their insurance, or their guarantee of insurance. We would approve it.
How about based on receiving proof of insurance?
Okay.
I have a question. Do we have certain insurance requirements?
They come first, and then it would be secondary. We should go through them first.
Are we like a certificate holder or additionally insured?
We're a certificate, well, that's what we're waiting for them to provide us with the certificate of insurance, like we would get from a subcontractor, somebody doing work for us.
Thank you.
And they have it, they just haven't provided us proof. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Time for a council roundtable. Does anybody have anything for the council roundtable? See none. Let's go straight to committee reports. Finance Committee.
The report here is, we had a meeting and we talked about CDs. We have a list of alternate funding agencies that we would like information on. I have a list of Barclays, Marcus, and Capital One. The office would be so kind as to get some information from them, see about their fees, about their rates, and if we pull out early, what's the damage.
So
I'm sorry, Berkeley's funding, and who was the second one?
Capital One.
Marcus.
Can we ask why Finance Committee isn't doing this as a committee, instead of trying to get over to the office?
You guys always did it before.
No, we're trying to get the committees to do the committee work,
We're trying to get information,
right?
and you guys are already on the trail.
We wanted the treasurer to
Treasurer, who's best fit to do this? I don't know,
we had, so since we're not professionals, we wanted to turn this over to the treasurer and see. We have three choices: Barclays, Capital One, or Marcus. And you would.
Tell me the last one. You had Barclays funding, Capital One, and
Marcus.
Marcus, okay, sorry. That one I've never heard of.
All of those had CD rates a little bit in that, around 2%,
Okay.
as opposed to what we're paying, or what we were getting. So,
They're all online.
yes,
In the past, you wanted something local that you could go and get it if you wanted to.
right. Being like, our philosophy was that we found 3 that we thought were good, but we would like, somebody with a little bit more, who was a little bit more financially that to maybe give us a referral or some advice on which one would be the best. Based on our research just showed that a little bit on the funds and everything that you can get by looking online, but we wanted to make sure if we have to withdraw, I mean, it's for municipalities, and we also have to be a little bit sensitive of that as well too. So.
I mean, when you're dealing locally, you have more flexibility than you do if you're going to be dumping money into someplace online.
If we can get right, and that's why we're asking for help.
So are you looking for the treasurer?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Next point, we discussed the $25,000 we're setting aside. And we didn't budget that, so we decided the $250,000 that is not getting rolled over right now would come out back into the general funds as $225 in the general fund. $25,000 set aside for the trestle, wherever it needs to go. And then the remainder, which would be the interest, is set aside for upcoming expenditures, if we see fit.
Well, the checks were picked, nobody informed the office of this, and Thursday the checks were picked up and the checks were redeposited back in the general fund and back into the sewer fund totally.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So now we just have to bring that 25 grand out, put it wherever it needs to be.
Does anybody have a copy of the budget that was passed for last year?
Yes.
I bet there was money set aside for matching grants. I bet there was 25,000.
Not for this. We only matched what we knew. We didn't know this until this year.
I mean, that's their decision.
Well, we're setting it aside, so it comes out of general fund and goes someplace. Under, sure. Or recreation.
Well, maybe the finance committee could come back to us and give us a recommendation. I heard someone over here mention capital improvements.
Yeah, so do we.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
next meeting, let us know where you want to take it from.
You can decide right now, yes, yeah, that sounds fine. It's always in some.
Capital improvements is okay.
Sure. And that's all we have.
Thank you. Public safety personnel.
Sorry, wait a minute, you're not setting another meeting.
You jumped in property?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
No, I'm not jumping property.
I have a lot to say about this tonight. We have things that come up, and a perfect example, we'll talk about the police station first. Apparently, council ruled on it before it went through the proper channels, property and highway. We have a committee set up for us to review the property and come back with an answer. We never get a chance to do that. Council takes it on themselves to do it. Just like last meeting, you determined about the pole barn, you made a motion to put it off to next year without having any put in from property and highway. For example, I gave you a paper stating what a pole barn was going for. $28,400. That's with a wish of 14-foot ceilings, which I don't think you need. Be more like a 12-foot ceiling, would probably drop it down to about 22 to 23,000. That's a complete outside building. Windows, doors, everything. The concrete I got for a price of $10,400. So you're talking under 40,000. We got a grant of 60. You put it off the next year to try to save money. At the aspect that Barry Isaacs is going to run this job for $10,000. The pole barn people come out and mark it late and set it. They don't need an engineer to build it. The concrete people do the same thing. And Ted, instead of talking to the property and highway people about it before you made a motion, you run right ahead and say, "Well, wait a second, we'll put it off till next year." Next year, you're going to wind up paying Barry Isaacs $10,000 more, and you don't know if you're going to get a grant next year. You don't know if the people that doing the concrete work, which is $4.47 a square foot, which 20 years ago I used to get 5. The Amish people work that cheap. You might not get them next year. And if you don't, the price for around here is $9 a square foot. So that means your concrete floor just went up to $20,000. But instead of waiting for us to give you an answer on it, again, council took it upon themselves to give their own answer. And you do this all the time. I think you got to understand something. When we looked at the police up there, I've been in the building business since I was 9 years old. When I started being a cleanup guy. You didn't ask my opinion. You sat there and we're going to do it this way and that way. We gave an authority of $6,800. We could have hired somebody else out there, got it done, and might have cost us $10,000. But we put our guy that works for us and have them try to do all the jobs together. But again, these guys got to stop doing it. If you have a financial problem, you should let the finance committee come to a reserve to tell you what's your best interest. It comes the same thing with legal, it comes the same thing with recreation. We can't overstep the boundaries of their positions. Because if that's the case, then let's not have any of those positions. We all just, whatever we decide, we'll decide at a meeting. Because my points are very simple. You need a garage. We're growing out of our office. There's not enough room in that office, and every year it gets bigger and bigger. We need the garage to be turned into more office space. Now we got 60,000, you can make it work. Is it the Cadillac? No, the Chrysler. Chrysler's good compared to if you don't have nothing. And the aspect of it is, if you get another grant, we can finish that off. We can have that made big enough that when you go in executive session, instead of chasing the people out the door, we can go in there and have our executive session in behind closed doors. And not have people walk out. So I'm thinking what's best for the next 10 years. You're thinking about just 1 year. And that's what I'm saying to you. Now I know we passed, we ain't gonna do nothing, I don't know what you can do about that. But I tell you what, if you're gonna have pay Barry Isaacs 10, I'm doing it for nothing. Until I leave June 1st. After June 1st, you don't got me anymore. Unless you want to do that or something.
We can keep you on the phone.
Huh?
We'll keep you on the phone. You're
Yeah.
the phone in. We can FaceTime.
I think we can get suburban water to put the water in for us for free. I know a plumber will do the work pretty reasonable, an excavator, save you money. But if you don't want to do that, wait till next year. All right? I'm done. Pass it on.
Thank you. Public safety personnel?
They want to set up a highway meeting, property meeting.
Hey, Henry. Hank, you want to set up a meeting?
A meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Yeah, go ahead. I have to check my phone. I'll get back to you with time. I got doctor's appointments. Want to keep me alive.
We got a couple minutes. You want to make a...
I'll get back on the page. I gotta wait
While
for-
he's checking, can I bring something up? Leon resigned, we're gonna have to fill that spot. We should start checking around, asking people if they want to be there. And at some point, we're gonna have to appoint somebody.
Right. All right, public safety, public safety personnel.
We held a meeting last week. We reviewed some personnel issues, and we talked a little bit about safety. We had Robert Mahady at our meeting, who talked about the police station, and we also had our emergency preparedness coordinator. I remember his name.
Bill Pumple,
And he reviewed his plan and talked a little bit about what he's doing in preparation for the borough in the event of an emergency. And he'll be coming to all our meetings in the future to continue, keeping us updated on what he's doing as the emergency management coordinator. I'd like to also bring up that there is a training how to run a municipal police department, and I feel that the committee feels it's a good idea to send Mr. Mahady to that training, just to get some additional information on how to run a police department.
The same one Bob's going to?
Yes.
I can meet the 27th, 28th, and the 29th. Any 3 of those days. At 10 o'clock.
Pete?
Any day's good. Whichever, Hank.
I'm doing for Matt, whatever he can get off.
Hold on a second, let me take a look.
While he's checking.
What time?
10 o'clock for you, is that good?
What
Yes.
day? What day?
28?
27th, 28th, or 29th is good for me.
28th, all right.
28th?
Yep.
Can I continue?
March?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Can't go to 29.
28th.
28.
Okay.
I need a motion to send Mr. Mahady to that training.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? I say it.
Is Dan still on the line?
Yes.
What was that?
We're asking you if you would like to attend this.
Yeah, what's the date again?
April 5th.
Yes.
Do we need a motion for?
Yeah.
Yes. You need a separate one for Dan.
Yeah.
Or together, when it comes to the motion.
Another motion.
Another motion to send the mayor to the same meeting? Or the same
And I have a
training?
motion to send Mayor DePaul to this, how to run a municipal police department on April 5th.
Are you making it?
I'm making the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
I'd
Opposed?
like, I'm sorry. I'd like to schedule our next meeting,
Okay.
April 3rd, at 5 o'clock, 5:30 for public safety, personnel for public safety.
April 3rd, Hank?
April 3rd,
Yeah, I'm good.
5?
Yeah, after Easton, I'm good. As long as it doesn't snow.
You're both.
5 o'clock, I'm good with that.
Matt, you good?
Yep.
That's
All
all.
right. Is that it? Good. Legal newsletter and computers, I've nothing to report. Utilities?
No.
I was going to ask you about now would be the time to bring up the SonicWall
The license.
Okay.
for the computers.
All right. For the renewal of the Sonic Wave is, we use that protects all of our files. It's our malware protection, it's our firewall protection for all of our files. We're up for renewal right now. David, help me out with the renewal prices.
don't have it in front.
All right,
Sorry, I sent it out to everybody.
right, I don't have it.
$369 for 1 year, $549 for 2 years, and $709 for 3 years.
Yeah, it's like $360 if we say, if we do the 3 years. I think it's $382.50 for the 1 year.
Okay. So I think the idea would be to renew for 3 years. That's like we get almost a year for free. Buy two, get one for free, so. I would need a motion to renew the Sonic Wave for 3 years.
I'll make the motion.
Is there any further discussion on our Sonic Wave renewal? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Utility Committee?
We have our meeting on March 16th. We discussed the quote we received from Keystone Alliance for their services to supply a sewer rate study proposal. We're going to contact Mr. Bush to see if it would be possible to get a lower price quote for our study. Also, a town hall will be scheduled for the night of April 23rd, 2018, to have a public discussion concerning the proposed new sewer rate billing method. We'll also be contacting other municipalities to find out how they do their sewer billing. So, next meeting, Bob and Paul, you want to do the end of this week or the beginning of next week? At 6 o'clock?
I can do Friday. At 5 o'clock.
I can't do Friday.
Friday's Good Friday.
It's a good
Yeah,
Friday.
it's Good Friday.
It's only for a little bit. I have some information too. So you
Yeah, I
can't do
can't
Friday?
do Friday. I have an appointment.
All right. How about the next week?
Whatever.
April 4th?
Fine, how about you, Bob?
Yes.
6 o'clock or before that?
Well, 5?
Okay, April 4th, 5 o'clock.
I have some more information. I have some other information from other boroughs too, so,
Okay.
to share. Good. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah.
Recreation?
Right now, our focus is just on the Easter egg hunt and where we can help out. I'm going to come down at 10 o'clock just to help out, set up and everything. After the Easter egg hunt, after Easter, we'll kind of get back into having a meeting and discussing some future plans. We'll do recreation.
All right.
Jeff, so you know, Ted Verisink, who has emceed the Memorial Day celebration the last several years, has offered his services again.
Finally, grants committee?
You guys are all up to date on the grants, nothing new to report. We're gonna put in the recycling grant by, was it April 15th, Ron?
I think so.
April 7th. So, we're on track.
Wow.
All right. Any more committee? Any more committee? I miss anything? I miss anybody? Unfinished business? We should talk about the elected officials' insurance. Before we had discussed it a little bit, and we were going to bring that back. We need to make a decision whether we're going to pursue it or drop it. I need to know what your feeling is on that.
Well, right now we have it, right? So,
Yes.
if no motion's made, it remains.
It remains. Do you want, there was talk about keeping it, there was talk about dropping it. We are not all covered unless we fill out the form which David gave us, right? But at that point, we were just trying to decide whether we wanted to use it or not, whether we want to use it or whether we want to drop it.
You're talking about now.
Elected officials.
Yeah, but now you're going to the individual level. So if the individual wants to fill the form out, let them fill it out.
well, I need the form back whether you do or if you don't. If you don't, I need to deny it. Council 2 years ago brought this up, whether if the borough was gonna pay for it or if the individual was gonna pay for it. We got clarification from Penn State, PSAB, that it's not considered compensation to council members, and there's nothing wrong with the borough itself paying for it. I mean, it's a minimal amount.
So we have to fill out our forms.
Please.
Get them
Yes.
to David.
Right now, it's only one person on it. Right now, there's only one person utilizing it.
Well, I've received one form back, and I've been contacted by the program itself that we have 2 former members that are no longer on council or in an elected position that need to be removed. And once you do go off of council or no longer a mayor, you do have the right to roll it over into a personal plan. And that's where I'm at with them. I let them know the personal information on those 2.
All right, so if you want to take advantage of the insurance, please fill out the forms for David. We'll follow up on that the next meeting.
Is there a deadline for this, David?
No, so the sooner we can get it taken care of, the better.
All right, any new business? Any additional public? Yes, sir.
Leon Salt, 306 Second Street. I would like to know why this council is insistent on this sewer rate. Now, this sewer's been in here since the late 70s. We never had any problems. We've got money in the savings. We have not even 10 miles of sewer line in West Easton. When you go to Wilson, Easton, you're talking hundreds of miles. Now, we're going to base our rates on theirs. And when you tell me that the senior citizen, bullcrap, because a senior citizen, which I am, I pay $55. Right now, your rate, I'm going to be paying about $120. And that's if you don't put that additional charge for maintenance, whatever you want to call it. All right? And I can't see why. Could any one of you people here say why you have to do what you're doing? Because you're going to affect 95% of the people. That means if you water your lawn, if you water your flowers, if you wash your cars, if you have kids that you've got to, do more than one laundry a week, you're going to punish everybody in this borough because of your stupidity by trying to pass this. Now, can anybody answer why you have to?
We're gonna hold a town hall, and then we're going to get input from citizens about their opinion, and we've already talked about you and I have already talked about this. I understand where you're coming from. The idea was to make it fair and equitable for everybody. There are people that use very, very little water, paying the same amount that you are. So we're not any more than.
Wait, a senior citizen, all right? The lowest of his bills, or their bill is going to be is $47.
$62 for sewer. You pay not for water, for sewer. You pay
Sewer.
62 or 82.
No, senior citizen. Well, right now it's 65, I think.
It's
With the
63 for the senior rate.
Yes, it's cheaper.
Yes.
So they're still going to be paying, if they went away, didn't use any water for 3 months, they're still going to have that. So why is that fair? And then why is it fair that when I fill my pool, or wash my vehicles, or water my lawn, why should I pay sewer for that?
Well, you were offered a diversionary meter. You can put that in.
Yes, I am. But how many
Then
people...
you won't be charged for it.
Who's not?
You won't. If you're going to water your lawn, use
Yeah,
a
but
diversion meter.
how many people that use the water in West Easton can afford to have that done?
So Leon, our goal is, we're not going to do this nobody wants, if the public doesn't want to do it, we were just, right now, like we initially talked about before, we're just discussing it. We're just discussing it because of the way other boroughs do it, and we're just seeing if there's any advantage or disadvantage to it. You know, if we get to town hall and the residents say it's a bad idea, then it's a bad idea.
Well, the only time you're gonna have the residents down here, when they start getting double sewer bills, then it's gonna be too late. I've been talking to people, you know, in my neighborhood, but I don't see any over here. But wait till they, one. But wait till they start getting their sewer bills. This place isn't gonna be big enough.
Like I said, we haven't made any decision whether or not to do anything yet, Leon, so we'll definitely keep you in the loop.
Yeah, but Mr. Manana there says, you know, you're talking to this guy about the sewer rates, you're talking to different municipalities, you must have your mind made up.
No.
Because when this was first brought up, it was Dees, Bob, and Paul. When we sat in here, and I sat here right with them, when they talked to them, and I said, why would you want to do that? You know, oh, the senior citizen who only uses this. Well, that means if you flush your toilet once a day, I'm going to tell my wife I'm going to take the shower, put the plug in, she's going to take a bath. Tomorrow night, she'll take the shower, and I'll take the bath. Because that's the only way you're going to save. That's all I have to say, but I just can't see how anybody can sit here and say it benefits the borough.
I'm going to venture out on them to get myself in trouble. But that's not really what happened when you were here. We went over a chart of what everybody uses for water, which is your sewer is based on. You've got plenty of people in this town using 3, 4, 5, 6 units of water versus somebody like you who may use 28, 30, 40 units of water. So you're paying the same rate as someone using 2, 3 units of water for sewer, okay? So I can pose the same question to you, Leon, and say, what's fair, why should I, who use, say, 2, pay the same as you using 40 or 50, right? So what we're going to find out, and the decision has been made, is would it be more fair to bill people for actual water usage for the sewer, what's based on the sewer. So if you put in a diversionary water meter for your watering the lawn, washing cars, that's fine, you won't pay for it. Other people, like myself, will learn to use a nozzle on the hose. I mean, I drive by in the summertime and I see hoses just wide open because people don't care, because they're paying the same water that you're paying. So they don't care if it's not.
Yeah, but it's not going down the sewer.
But it's water usage, and that's what our sewer is based on.
Not when you have your hose running down the street like you just said. That's if it's going down the sewer line.
The water company shows the water we use, and that's what the sewage is based on, water usage in the town.
Yeah, now, when I fill my pool, it doubles whatever I use. Right now, mine was 18 cubic feet or whatever they did, times 565, is it?
No, that was just one of the figures that we put on. That's why we got an engineer, so we could get, you know, more exact figures on what we could use. But that was just a figure that we were using.
The sewer authority does use total water usage as what they bill us.
Right.
Not total in the sewer, just.
Well, now, that would be fair to me now. You know, come summer, or his father, when they fill the pool, water the lawn, wash the cars, that they pay sewer bill on?
Well, the idea was to use a diversion meter to figure out, you know, then would be subtracted from your bill, and that would be how we would take that into consideration.
Well, I'm definitely putting one in. And I don't know anybody else, but I would imagine when you say, you know, it's going to cost $500, $600 to somebody to put that in, you know, I mean, it's not going to cost me that much. But
here again, we're still discussing it. We're not any further than just talking about it.
All right.
Thank you for your input.
I have a question about this sewer problem. If everybody's going to be paying more sewer, and you have enough money in the sewer account to pay for the storage, right? For the sewer bill,
Yes.
okay? So you accumulate, say you have $500,000 in the sewer bill now, and you accumulate, say, $750,000.
No, the goal was to accumulate the same amount of money. Our goal wasn't to make, and our goal would be, the rate was based on the amount of water that is used and what revenue we have to pay. And that's how we base the rate. So we're not trying to generate any
Isn't
more
that
income.
kind of being redundant then? Because if you want to accumulate the same amount of money and charge this person more or that person less or whatever, like I said
I think the
before,
argument is
if it's-
this.
if it's not
I think the
broken
argument
down-
is, if the council decides to do it, they're actually billing fairly. For every person that complains and says, you're treating me poorly because I use this water, they're probably being undercharged. And there's people who are being overcharged. So as wrong as it would be for council to listen to 2 or 3 people who come to a borough council, and I'm not blaming you guys for doing this, I mean, you're right. But as wrong as it would be for them to listen to 2 or 3 people who say, this isn't fair to me because it's not fair, there might be 200 people, or 100 people, or 50 people that are grossly being overcharged. So the idea would be actually treat them for what they actually use, compared to using a flat amount. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the trend has always been to charge people what they actually use, compared to charging them a flat amount.
Well, I never had any utility bills go down.
That's trend in other municipalities. This municipality, our trend was just the way it is.
I know when I ran Phoenix Coalition, there were 11 apartments, but my sewer bills were 11 times. I had 90% senior citizens. They take a shower once a week, twice a week maybe.
Yeah,
So
but
my bill was extravagant, but I said, listen, that's what it is, that's what it is. But the same token, I can understand your point, but I think it's set up to try to conserve water usage. Now, I know my brother-in-law, Bruce Weiner, he goes through like 12 or 14 units. And then you can't walk down the driveway every day. If you don't change your habits, I understand that, but you have a pool. I think it's put in there, when you fill the pool, you tell we're filling it, and they just subtract that from your water bill. But we have to do something for people to start conserving water.
I don't care
And
what
my mother
you
was
do.
alive, she used to do
People
12
are
or
never
14
going to
units.
conserve. As far as water goes, people will never conserve.
Well, how about the old person who lives by himself, and he's on an income of $600 a month, and he's paying this ridiculous water bill and sewer bill,
Well,
where
I'm
he only uses 2 units.
I pay one of those ridiculous water bills. Because I don't, I was told because I don't use enough water, you're paying
If
this
you're
amount
using
of
the
money.
water, you should pay for the sewer you use. Simple.
Well, I don't have that opportunity.
We do the same thing with garbage, that should be changed, but we don't. A person puts out 1 bag of garbage, and next door puts out 22 bags. And they pay the same thing for garbage. Come on, I mean, you go out to other areas, they give you a can. Fill the can, that's all you're gonna take. Around here, you can put the kitchen sink down, we'll take it. So, I mean, we have pros and cons.
it's just doing the like up the street there, 4th Street, or 3rd Street. They're in the center. Now there's 1, 2, 4 apartments, 3 single rooms. Now you're paying the sewer and the garbage bill for each one, am I correct? Right? You're saying right?
Yes.
All right, now you're gonna get 1 sewer bill out of that place. All right?
That's
Before you're
wrong.
getting,
If there's 3 addresses,
no, it's 1 apartment.
Well, Leon, they would be billed, it's a living unit is how the council has it in the ordinance. So if there's 4 apartments, you're getting 4 sewer bills. And it's going to still be the same way, because as long as there is a water meter for each unit, we're gonna have a reading as far as how much water
Well,
there
what
is.
if there's only 1 meter there?
yeah, but Mr. Clark's house had his 2 sons living in both apartments. And for years, they were only charging 1 sewer bill. And then finally, they had a census, well, we got 2 different families that even though it's related, we'll send you 2 sewer bills. And that's what they should have done right to begin with. But our biggest problem, we don't know who's living in what because the landlords don't tell us who's living in it. There's some people, there's a house on 6th Street, There's 4 different people that are not related living in the same house. You all got a car. Think about that. All right? And whoever lives alongside of them has to put up with the bullshit. Because we don't have nothing to do about it. We can't do nothing about it. That's what's going on. So we have a lot of problems, but you got to start somewhere. It's unfair to you? I agree. But how about the little old guy that's on that thing? It's unfair to him. I used to tell everybody, when my kids were living here, I'd put out 8 bags of garbage, and I'm paying the same thing as Joe Clark putting out 1 bag. I used to tell my neighbors, I said, Joe, thanks for paying my garbage bill, I really appreciate it. What else can I say?
I'm only using myself, but I guarantee you there's about 85 to 90% of people are going to be paying more sewer bill than they ever think.
No.
Actually figured out about 60% of the residents will be paying lower sewer bills. And about 30%, or about 60-some%, and then 30-some% will be paying, a higher sewer bill.
Might I make a suggestion? Sure. We're going to have a public forum on this at some point, and I think that will be the time to address all these what-ifs.
April 23rd.
But definitely, we're not going to do something without your guys' input. Definitely.
When is this public meeting?
April 20th.
Tentatively scheduled for the 23rd of April.
April?
Yes.
What time?
6:30.
Tentatively scheduled.
And how are we
Make sure it's in the newsletter, Paul.
Got it.
Oh, I was just gonna ask that, how are we gonna cover that, the newsletter? Yeah, how many people read those newsletters?
Newsletter, Facebook, and website.
Any more public comment? Thanks a lot, Joe.
Okay, my name's Bruce Zavada. Yesterday afternoon, there was a group of trucks came down Ridge Street, stopped and put up 2 bucket trucks. They start working on the lines and stuff like that. They shut off the electric power. And I went out and I asked them, a woman that was directing traffic. I mean, they had a whole crew up there. They brought in about 5 or 6 different trucks with people and everything else. And it wasn't any kind of emergency. They were just doing maintenance on the lines, taking off cross pieces and things like that. Could the residents in the area be notified before they do this? Because all of a sudden, nobody had any power.
Is that Med-Ed?
I don't know what the company
I
was.
say Med-Ed, you should get this warning. Why can't you from the resident?
I mean, I spoke to one woman who was directing traffic there, because they have people directing traffic and everything else, because they blocked off most of the street.
Nothing on the truck?
No, there was nothing on the first truck that was coming down the hill. But she said they have extra people because of all the storms that were going on recently, and they were done with all their disaster work, so they came out for the weekend, and they were getting paid double time for doing his work on, routine work on the lines.
2 big white bucket trucks
There you go. Okay.
Just a notification would be fine, you know?
Usually, yeah, especially with a power outage, we would get some type of notification.
I mean, Med has contacted us, what, Dave, 3 times now, that they were gonna do an upgrade to the system that people on Main Street and East Street may go without power for like a period of 4 or 5 hours, and it's never happened.
Maybe that was it.
I don't think so, because it shouldn't have affected anybody on Ridge for what they were doing down on Main Street.
Next time, call David or Joan, let them know. That would
Would
help.
somebody answer on a Sunday
I was
afternoon?
gonna say, we can fucking.
Leave us a
I mean,
message.
On a
Like
Sunday afternoon.
4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, yeah.
No wonder they were getting double time.
Well, she said they were getting paid, 16 hours a day, both Saturday and Sunday for doing this routine work.
Why didn't you go and ask them who they were? I would've. I've done that on my street.
All right, any other public? Thank you. Go to executive session.